Greetings ladies and gentlemen, in today's Hearthstone tutorial we'll be taking a look at the Hunter class. Remembering this is just a preview of the class, this does not contain a deck list, this is not the definitive guide of how to play the Hunter class. This is just, as I said, a preview to see if the Hunter class is for you. Now the Hunter class parries his opponent with arrows, weakening his board position, while amassing a legion of creatures that will buff each other and tear your opponent down. So the deck obviously works off synergy rather than individually strong cards, though it does have a few of those. So let's take a look at some of the cards. So just go to my Hunter page. I'll only go through a few of the cards that I think are the most important. Don't have time to talk about them all. So basic Timberwolf. 1 cost, 1/1. All your other beasts have +1 attack. Now this is a really good card. I would caution against playing it first turn. As a 1-drop, it sort of looks like a good idea to play it first turn, but you really get a bonus just sort of tagging it on to like the last little bit of mana you have on a turn after you summon 2 or 3 creatures, so they can all take advantage of this. If you summon it first turn, expect to lose it in your opponent's next turn, which is okay, but definitely keep in mind it can work a lot better mid-game. Like a lot of Hunter cards do actually. They can work really good early game, or they've got a different purpose mid-game. I normally don't go through secrets, but the Explosive Trap is one really good secret that really helps the Hunter deck out. Basically, 2 cost, play it down. When your hero gets attacked, deal 2 damage to all enemies, including the enemy character. This is a fantastic card. It lets you play a little bit safer with the Hunter, maybe hold a couple more cards back in your hand, but it deals with those nasty Swarm decks. It's one of the few cards that can deal with Swarm in your opponent's turn. It's a really good secret to have. Hunters have a lot of secrets based around messing with your opponent's attacks. I'll just go through one more. The Freezing Trap. When your enemy minion attacks, return it to their hand and it costs 2 more to play. So, really good. If you use it on a 9 or a 10 cost minion, your opponent can't actually play it unless they use the coin or if they're a druid. So that's a really cool little trap as well. They've got a few traps. One of the key cards is Unleash the Hounds. Now again, it is a low cost card, but you probably don't want to play it early game due to its effect. For each enemy minion, summon a 1/1 hound with charge. Now if you use the pre-mentioned wolf, these will be 2/1s with charge, and there's a lot more buffs you can do with these because these count as beasts. Such as summoning a scavenging hyena. Whenever a friendly beast dies, gain +2/+1. So if you use Unleash the Hounds on an enemy board that has 3 creatures or more, you can summon all these guys, probably summon the hyena, ram all the hounds into the enemy creatures, hopefully clearing the board, and you have a very strong hyena. Now, if you have enough mana, ideally you could summon the Starving Buzzard before summoning all those hounds. Whenever you summon a beast, draw a card. Note this stacks for each hound you summon, so if you manage to summon, I don't know, 5 hounds because they've got 5 creatures, you summon Starving Buzzard first, you draw 5 cards. Starving Buzzard is low mana, so you may be tempted to play him early game, but I suggest you don't, because he's only got 1 health, and he will just get killed next turn. You want to play him when you got around 6 mana or more, so you can play him in a couple beasts. If he draws you 1 or 2 cards, he's done his job, but you can really get him to draw like 3, 4, even 6 cards, depending on how you combo it, like with Unleash the Hounds and a couple other cards. Including Snake Trap, which is another trap that I will try to talk about, but I don't own it yet. So, Eagle Horn Bow, pretty solid weapon. You normally wouldn't think hunters would use weapons, but I've been trying it out, and it's pretty good. Whenever a secret is revealed, gain +1 durability, so the same deal, like if your opponent reveals secrets, your traps are all secrets, so you will get some mileage out of this. Even if you only reveal 1 or 2 traps, it becomes a very efficient weapon. Good for just clearing the board, making sure, like let's say, a creature can't attack your Starving Buzzard, like you destroy it first. Animal Companion is almost an overpowered card. Summons a random beast companion, but all of them are good. All of them I'd say are worth about 4 mana, at least. Tend to, either 4 attack or 4 health, or 4 attack and 4 health, or taunt or charge. So you just mess around with this, but it's a great card, and it's always efficient. There's no bad option, it's always efficient. Deadly Shot, destroy a random enemy minion. So if you use Unleash the Hounds, you can actually kill off all the little things, and use Deadly Shot to get a free kill on their biggest creature, as long as it's the only one there. This card is a lifesaver, it is really good. You just have to make sure that it doesn't hit a 1/1 or something ridiculous like that, but as a hunter, it's not really a problem to get rid of them. Kill command. Deal 3 damage. If you've got a beast, deal 5 damage instead. For 3 mana, 5 damage is pretty good. Again, you just use it to overwhelm big things while your little things sort of murder everything. Multi-shot, same deal. 3 damage to 2 random enemy minions. You can reduce the random element by taking out the minions you don't want it to hit. Houndmaster. I like him, but he's not a beast. But he buffs beasts, yeah? He gives them +2 attack, +2 health, and taunt. Now, a little bit of a problem with him is that all your creatures are sort of give buffs, basically, or your beasts give buffs to other beasts. And if you give them taunt, they tend to die, but the +2/+2 and taunt is pretty good. So, I guess if you consider him a 4 mana for 6, he can't buff himself, but 6 attack and 5 health, then that is pretty good. And a taunt on top of that, but you gotta be a bit careful with who you target him with. Well, not that careful, really. You can just make anything into a pretty big creature. But just keep that in mind, that he's not a beast. Tundra Rhino. Again, most of these cards are soulbound, so they're the ones you get by just leveling to level 10. Your beasts have charge. At a 5 cost, he's not too easy to combo with a whole bunch of beasts, but if you can play him, and he survives your opponent's turn, your opponent's made a very big error, and you can play 3 or 4 beasts and have them all have charge and just smash into your opponent. It's a fantastic card. If you're at 10 mana, then of course you can play this and a bunch of other little creatures, but if your opponent doesn't get rid of this, then they're in a lot of trouble, because charge is huge. There's no attack cap on this charge, like some of the warrior cards. Like, your huge beasts can charge, which is amazing. And of course, Sylvain Highmane, you do have to get this from a booster. He's rare, but not that rare. 6/5 and turns into 2/2 hyenas. And so you can give him charge. And yeah, basically, he goes really well. Combos with all the other things, of course, he's a big beast. That's like the hunter-specific beast. There are a couple more that I'll get to when I get to the crafting mode. But the other things you can do is there are lots of neutral beasts. So just search beast. Stone Tusk Boar, give it a miss. Young Dragonhawk, probably give it a miss. Bloodfen Raptor is alright. Direwolf Alpha is fantastic in this deck. It synergizes really well. Adjacent minions have +1 attack. It is a beast. 2, it does fit the mold of, do you want to play it as soon as you can, or do you want to, sort of wait mid to late game? So it does definitely feel like a hunter card. But, use it whenever. Interestingly enough, Iron Beak Owl is a beast. Gives you a bit of silence if you're having trouble with your opponents just chucking a bunch of buffs on one card. I'm not using it right now, but yeah, this works really well. Can use it when Buzzard's out, or any other sort of combination. Actually make this a pretty frightening creature. Crocolisk. Good for clearing out your opponent's sort of 1s and 2s, but, otherwise not hugely remarkable, but he's a beast. In hunter decks, of course, beast creatures that are unremarkable become super remarkable because they're beasts and they combo with all of his stuff. Emperor Cobra, again, I'm not using him, but he's fantastic. Destroy any minion damaged by this minion. Note, Divine Shield will not cause this effect to happen because they don't actually take damage, but this guy can just tear down anything no matter how big he is. So if you don't want to run Silence, you could run this guy. It does give your opponent a turn to react because of Summoning Sickness, unless you get him charged with your other minions. So, potentially, you can just drop this guy out, ram him into something huge, and, laugh for days. And for Grizzly, 3/3 with Taunt, normally not good, but he's a beast, so great in a hunter deck. I still don't have any love for Silverback Patriarch. I don't find him that threatening. He is a beast, which does give him a bit of power, I guess. But, yeah, I don't know. Never really been a fan of this card. It is alright, and if you want to use it in Hunter by all means, but when you can replace it, this is probably the card you replace for some better cards. Same deal with Oasis Snapjaw. 2/7, it's not really that threatening. If you do have a Houndmaster, which is, this guy, then you can give him Taunt, and it's terribly scary. Yeah? He suddenly becomes, a 4/9 with Taunt? Where was he? Yeah, it'll become a 4/9 with Taunt, and that is respectable. That's actually really threatening. So, not that good unless you got Houndmaster. But again, he's a beast, so he can have a place in your deck. Stranglethorn Tiger is fantastic, 5/5 with stealth. Stealth is just amazing, especially in this like control sort of spells. You know, if you're versing a mage, they can't just fireball this first turn, you will get use out of this. Perhaps a controversial pick is the Core Hound. A lot of people don't like Core Hound because his health's pretty low for his cost. But if you have your Tundra Rhino out and give this charge, suddenly this becomes a very, very, very good pick. Just jumps out, does 9 to something, even to your opponent. Like, that's pretty scary. So I'll go into crafting mode and see what cards I have missed. I don't actually own all the cards, obviously, but this includes some Soulbound. But where are we? Alright, so I talked about most of that. I'll talk about their in-house legend first. King Crush, 9/8/8 with charge. Now this card synergizes really well with the Hunter archetype. Basically, it means you can get your opponent 8 away from death, drop King Crush as soon as they don't have taunt, and win the game. The amount of games that I've seen ended by King Crush smashing into the opponent that has 8 life, actually a lot more than you would expect. Now, King Crush is a legend, so it's kind of hard to find, but that works in his favour. Yeah, your opponent versing a Hunter deck will not 100% expect King Crush, especially at lower levels, so if you do manage to get him, use him. Just chip your opponent down. They'll probably think they've got one more turn than they actually have, so they'll set up a meager defense, or try rush you down, you play King Crush, you win. What other little... excuse me... Jungle Panther, same deal with the other Tiger. 3 cost, 4/2, stealth. Stealth is great. He will use that 4 attack to deal a lot of damage to someone. Another legend they have, King Mukla, gives your opponent 2 bananas. They are a +1/+1 spell that buffs their own creature. So yeah, I don't know. He's not going to be my second legendary for this review, but I thought I'd mention him. He's a 5/5 and a beast. He's cheap, but be careful if you're using him. Stampede and Kodo, good battle cry, but I don't use him. Now the one that I really wanted to talk to you about is my second legend pick for the Hunter, the Beast. He is a 6 cost, 9/7. He does have a negative. If he dies, then your opponent gets a 3/3 minion, but with the pre-mentioned charge, you can drop this guy down, smash an opponent. He's cheaper than the Core Hound and has more health than the Core Hound. He is really good. I really wish I had him so I could show you just how good that is, but he synergizes with all the other beast stuff as well. Now a couple cards that aren't beasts that the Hunter can really use, and only a couple. I'm getting through the review. Fairy Dragon everyone can use, Knife Juggler everyone can use. Where are you? One of the things that the Hunter deck can struggle with is a little bit of card draw. Yeah, your buzzards can give you a lot of card draw if properly played, but you want more card draw than that, and that comes with the Cult Master. Whenever one of your minions dies, draw a card, so 4 and 2. It's a very good card, good in most decks, but Hunters can get a lot of really cheap creatures. With Unleash the Hounds, you know, you can get 3 Hounds or 4 Hounds. Each one of those Hounds that dies, draw a card. And if you've got Cult Master and Starving Buzzard out before you play Unleash the Hounds, then that Hound will get you a card draw as it's summoned and a card draw as it dies. So that is a really mean combo, can get you a lot of cards and can really maintain the pressure. Without card draw, if you don't play the best, your Hunter deck can really fizzle out and run out of cards, and that's just going to let your opponent win. You don't want that pressure to be relieved. That's a brief overview of what their cards do. So you notice they've got a bit of removal, they've got a lot of synergy. Also, if you don't have a lot of the buffing cards, Stormwind Champion fits in well because you've got a lot of minions, +1/+1 is fantastic. So yeah, they've got a lot of synergy, a lot of removal. So now I'm going to try a game with them and hope I do pretty well. I've been playing the Hunter deck for a while. It's not my naturally best deck. You know, some decks click with you, some decks don't, but I'll show you some of the basics. Hopefully this turns out alright. So yeah, a few tricks to remember. There's certain creatures that you don't want to play first or second turn. Just sort of want to hold them. Be a little bit greedy, I guess. But as I recently learned, that doesn't mean hold all of them. Yeah? It's not worth completely surrendering the board to your opponent unless you've got a solution. Alright, this could be relatively painful because Jane has got a lot of good ways of getting rid of cards. Don't really need Deadly Shot because it's Jaina, and Highmane is too high cost. Alright, looks like I can chuck away a Direwolf Alpha. I do have the coin. Note, playing a Starving Buzzard or anything with 1 health against Jaina is a terrible idea because she will just Fire Blast it and then I've lost card advantage. So I'll try Seize Momentum. I'm fully expecting this Direwolf to eat a spell, but something has to eat a spell against Jaina. That is the unfortunate fact about versing Jaina. If I get another Direwolf out, then these will buff each other. Rawr. They're not too susceptible. Okay, so she's just going to Fireball. See, that's alright. If she uses her entire turn and doesn't kill a minion, that's fine. I could play a Scavenging Hyena to make up, well, basically take advantage of the fact that this is almost guaranteed to die, or I could summon another Direwolf Alpha. I want to save this for when I summon more minions, so Scavenging Hyena it is. And just do some direct damage. Jaina doesn't have a lot of ways, well, she doesn't have any natural ways of healing herself. She can get herself some armor, but every damage is telling. Especially if I had King Crush, I don't own him. I forgot to talk about Steady Shot. It's pretty obvious what it does. 2 mana to do 2 damage to the enemy hero. Again, combines well with King Crush, which I meant to say when I was talking about him. It's really good. You can use it basically whenever you're stalling for time. He killed my Hyena randomly. That was kind of annoying, and cleared my board. But when you're stalling for time and just sort of holding back cards, doing 2 damage to the enemy is great. You just wear him down over time. I'll summon that. And yeah, if you can get an early lead on your opponent, this will win you the game. Especially if you're top decking, and then you summon average creature 2 damage. Summon average creature 2 damage. If Jaina did the same thing, she would lose, basically. Summon normal creature and then deal 1 damage to me. Okay, well, have fun with that. I'm doing twice as much damage. Jaina's one is more versatile, but this is just solid. Yeah, 2 damage to the enemy hero is not to be laughed at. And again, especially with King Crush. You can very easily get them down to 8 health, and so you can just King Crush them. Now, I don't want to play my Cult Master here, again, because it will just die. Might have to lose a mana here, so I'm going to summon a Beast Companion and show you what that does. So I got Huffer. See, he's well worth 3 mana. Does 4 charge, really good, and of course he's considered a beast, so if I had a Buzzard or any of that, I would be fine. Now if he doesn't deal with Huffer, then I'll summon Cult Master, maybe. Thing with versing mages, of course, is when they get around 7 mana, they can do all sorts of nonsense, so you don't want to overplay too much. Unless you have a way of drawing a lot of cards.
Get behind me.
Alright, so I probably will play the Cult Master. I'll play the Cult Master, ram Huffer into that, and get a card draw from it. Seems good to me. Hopefully he can't kill the Cult Master, but then again, he's burning spell. Can't get rid of the Cult Master, he's in a bit of trouble. Now I've got my Buzzard. Probably don't have enough creatures to warrant summoning him. But, you know, 1 creature to draw a card, that's not terrible. It is against Jaina though, because she will just kill the Buzzard. You want to get a few card draws when you're versing mages or anyone that can have has a lot of field clear. So, yep. Are you going to waste another spell? Alright, so that could be any number of things. Could be Mirror Image, could be a Vaporize. I want to see if it's a Mirror Image. Actually, if it's a Vaporize, it doesn't matter, because she's just going to shoot me next turn. So I'll swing at it. Ice Barrier. Okay, that's fine. 8 armor. That's not actually scary at all. I do wish I had an easier Buzzard play. 5, 4, 9. Meh. I'll just summon the Highmane. Not worry about the draw. It's worth not losing the Buzzard over, because this card can easily get you 3 cards. Maybe I'm being too protective of it, but it wins games. If you can get a 3 card draw off each one of these that you play, you've probably won. Especially against Mage, because the Mage tends to use 1 spell to deal with 1 threat, but if you're drawing more cards, that's annoying. If you're drawing more cards, then yeah, you're just going to win. Now I don't have a good way of dealing with that. I don't want to Deadly Shot it, because it's terrible, and I can't multi-shot it, because he's only got 1. So I got 2 options. Either go for the card draw, or just play Stranglethorn, which I will, and shoot him. There's nothing wrong with shooting. Steady Shot is a fantastic ability. You use it frequently, but if you've got other plays that use all your mana, obviously don't just rely on Steady Shot unless you're holding stuff back. That being said, if you can use this every turn, it ends the game in 15 turns if you do nothing else. That's pretty huge. Definitely puts your opponent on the clock. Which is, yeah, another good thing that the Hunter deck does. Now, she can't directly deal with my Stranglethorn. Cool, they've got a Hogger. Well, I am probably going to multi-shot and then try Deadly Shot that. Now, while Hogger looks kind of like a beast, unfortunately he doesn't summon beast cards. If he did, he would be my top pick for beast cards. So I'm going to multi-shot. Do I want to multi-shot? I think I do. I'm in Flame Strike range, so I don't want to summon anything else until they play a Flame Strike. I'll multi-shot and hopefully kill those. Even if I don't, I'll just trade this with that. Cool, so there goes the little things. There goes Hogger. There, they surrendered. Alright, well technically that would be the end of my little video.